Hiya guys, Freddy here. Welcome back to another ramble kind of thing. Because I've been watching YouTube recently and I've seen a bunch of videos about how Baldurs Gate 3 people think will make a better virtual tabletop than the Wizards of the Coast actual virtual tabletop. Because we've seen Baldurs Gate 3 out in the wild now and it's looking awesome. I have to admit I haven't bought and played it yet, but I do intend to at some point. But the $50 price point is a bit rich for my blood for a game I'm not sure I'll like. Because I've had some experience with Larian Studios before, their Divinity series of games, and while I did like some of them, the later ones I had problems with and really didn't like as much as the community seemed to rave about. So I'm a bit hesitant to shell out quite as much money on a game I might not play a lot. So I'll wait for the Steam Christmas sale or whatever until it's on sale and I'll pick it up then. Get all the bugs washed out as well. But people have been talking how this amazing game, because all the reviews do point to it being absolutely brilliant, which allows you such freedom in combat and exploration, will make a better tabletop than the Wizards of the Coast virtual tabletop. Because the betas we've seen for the Wizards virtual tabletop have been pretty darn primitive. They are buggy, it doesn't look great at all, it doesn't follow the rules of Dungeons and Dragons. It lets you do anything you want, drag your miniatures up onto the top of a house if you want, but there's no animation, it's just a miniature getting dragged up there. But I think what people are missing is that these are being targeted at very different things. And I disagree with the idea of Baldurs Gate 3 being a better virtual tabletop than the actual virtual tabletop for two reasons. Now the first one's going to be really easy to get through. The reason I disagree is because of the price. Now if Wizards of the Coast goes with the virtual tabletop being priced like something like Beyond D&D Beyond, where basically you get it for free. Games masters and people who want to have lots of different characters because they're playing in lots of different groups and therefore getting a lot of use out of it will want to pay. However, if you're just having a few characters, if you're using it for your weekly game with some friends, it's free to use. And I think that's what the virtual tabletop is going to be marketed as. You're going to have a free version and they're going to sell lots and lots of add-ons. Now that's where people have big problems with the Coast trying to profit off this. But that's just the nature of things. You know, we can look at lots of free games which come with microtransactions. If you want to play the basic version, then you can play them. But if you want to play them intensely and get lots of advantages, then you have to pay out for it. And that's all that Wizards of the Coast is doing. There's nothing really wrong with that in business. But worse than that, if you're going to be using Baldurs Gate 3 as your virtual tabletop, then everybody needs a copy. And it's $50 a shot at the moment, or £50, I don't know what it is in dollars. I'm not in America, but I'm guessing it's pretty much equivalent. So if you've got 5 players and a games master, then that's $300 entry fee before you start. And then you've got to mod your game, and you've got to make sure that everybody in your group is skilled enough to mod their game. So that guy who's slightly older and doesn't know his way around a computer, well, you're going to have to sit with him and mod his game so he can join in the group. Now I think that's a big barrier. While Baldurs Gate 3 is going to look absolutely fabulous, the other thing about the virtual tabletop that I think people are missing is the idea of using Baldurs Gate 3 as a virtual tabletop will be you'll be writing your own adventures and creating all the backgrounds or just using the generic ones out of the game. If you're wanting something else, then you're going to be relying on modders. Now there are amazing modders out there. There's lots of games I've played which have been absolutely modded out of their original identity. I play a really old, I think it's 1999 it came out, Star Trek Armada 2. And I play lots of mods in that still to this day. I've been playing it for 20 plus years. So I totally get in with the modding scene. But relying on people doing free work and providing that for you, and then only being able to play those ones, I think is very limiting. What I think Wizards of the Coast is trying to do with a virtual tabletop, because if you look what they do with their own stuff, they compete on other tabletops. If you go to Fantasy Grounds or you go to Roll20, you'll find Wizard of the Coast have packs available for their adventures in those. You know, different backgrounds, different encounters, all built for you if you're using one of those virtual tabletops. And I think they're going to do the same with theirs. That yes, you'll be able to go on there and buy Wizard of the Coast adventures. That'll be extra costs. You'll get the free basic version, but if you're wanting these adventures, you'll have to pay out for them. But you have to pay out for buying adventures anyway. The other point will be, it'll allow you to use those elements within other adventures. If you need a church or chapel and you bought an adventure with a church and chapel, you can drop that scene in and use it. But I think the other thing they're going to do is make it like a Steam store, like the Epic Store or one of these online game stores. Also like DrivethruRPG, that other people will be able to create items and sell them through this platform, and Wizard of the Coast will take a cut, because that's very appealing indeed. If you look at Steam and Valve Entertainment, is it, that produces it, they haven't really made a new game in years, but they are one of the biggest game companies in the world, because so many people buy video games through Steam, and Valve takes a cut off the top of each one of those sales. Absolute churns in the money for them. And I think that's what Wizard of the Coast wants. They want to create a platform that you can game on. They want to sell some of their stuff through it, but they want the entire community creating adventures and selling it to one another so they can take their 5, 10, 15% off the top of every sale. And for providing the platform, that's not bad. You know, lots of us deal through DrivethruRPG, lots of us sell through Amazon, and the cut off there is worthwhile for having access to that audience, that customer base. So I don't see much wrong with this. One of the signs I think that this is what they're planning is because they're using the Unreal Engine. Now, if you go on the Epic Game Store, which happens to be the main platform through which Unreal is marketed through, you can download the Unreal Engine and get it installed on your computer just through one click on the Epic Game Store. But also, if you go and search it, you can find things like the Fortnite Unreal Engine game pack for you to create your own games within Fortnite. Now, this is of no interest to me. I don't play Fortnite. But the idea that they are providing something so people will create stuff for their game and be drawn to play their game, I think is very much the market that Wizard of the Coast is going for, which is why they've been bringing in people from Microsoft and all that marketing, because they want to create an online community that they can take their 5, 10, 15% or whatever off the top of us doing the work. So I think the idea that you can mod a game and have the same access is going to be very different. You'll be relying on a small bunch of modders who cannot profit off their work, or a large bunch of creators who can profit off their work. And that's going to be the difference between the two. Now, I'm not particularly excited by their virtual tabletop. It's not something I particularly enjoy. I'm very much theatre of the mind in the way I portray my games, in the way I like to play. Once role-playing games become very video gamey, I think it takes away from it. You know, the idea of you explaining that your character darts across the room and leaps, bouncing off the wall to gain momentum to slash down on an enemy, that's brilliant storytelling. But for the Games Master to turn around and go, well, actually, you're 5 foot short of that, so you can't do that. The engine lays down rules, and these virtual tabletops stop a lot of creativity, something I very much dislike. So I'm definitely not one of the market base for Wizard of the Coast virtual tabletop. I'm not going to be rushing out to get it. And my group is the people who use old laptops they had in college and that kind of thing, who are players who probably won't be using it either. So I'm not a shill, even though I'll probably be accused of being one, but I do think that Wizard of the Coast has a solid idea here, if that's the direction they're going on. But I'm just an idiot on the internet guessing at what they're planning, but it seems to make sense to me. Anyway, I think I've whittled on for quite long enough, so if you've got any thoughts, please put them in the comments down below. I'd love to hear what people are thinking. But most of all, you look after yourselves, and I'll catch you later. Bye now.